So this got put on YouTube. So does that mean? All right, so I really should go some YouTube on there. Hey guys, I'm trying to figure out how to get all these devices to work together. All right, where is the remote? Oh, gotta be quiet. That is not on the keyboard. Oh, here it is. I think you'll figure it out with DJ here. Okay, so. Let me turn that. Let me turn that off. All right, well, that's loading. I gotta grab some water. Doing now. Mhm. Yeah, we're singing the phone. Sorry, I don't know if you guys are on that. I think there's three people, so okay. Maybe two to three people, I don't, just tell me who it is right now. Not quite yet. All right, yes, I want to connect the account. Yes, please. YouTube TV wants to access your Google account. Manage your YouTube account. Yeah, this is my TV, so, all right. Now, have these little marshmallow thing, but it's so funny. So what I'm doing here, guys, okay, I figured it out. There we go. Okay, so I'm streaming the live onto my YouTube because that's the only one I can get the Zoom to do it on. But then I'm using this to stream to Facebook so that you guys can see it. So that's why we're doing this. And I wish that it would let us turn the phone to the side. Do you think that it would to like fit a screen, but it just is not. So we're gonna work with what we got, which is amazing. I mean, we could have nothing, so we are doing good. So let me get the Opechancanough presentation. So today is the 404th anniversary of the uprising that occurred in 1622. We're talking Jamestown, we're talking Opechancanough. He is our ancestor. Obviously, we also have European ancestors from that time. So that's what we're going to get into today. I don't know if we'll find it, but I do recall during this intensive DNA study that I've been doing for quite a while now, that I read somewhere that just prior to this uprising, he had put a curse on the white man because this white man, Thorpe, that's the surname of the guy, was trying to force him to be Christian. And obviously, like people that Opechancanough cared about and that were family had gotten, uh, hurt by the Europeans. So that's why all this happened or whatever. But so that is what we were getting into today. But let me get this screen shared from the laptop. Are we gonna do the Opechancanough timeline? Is that what this is? Let's see what happens on here. Oh, and let me try to see if you guys are on here chatting with me. All right, so I got to go there. Deborah! Okay, now I can see the chat. Hey, Deborah. Oh, good. There's not that many people on because I'm still over here trying to get it to work right. I don't know if I like this for the screen or not. I feel like I want a. Well, this will work for now, I guess. Let's see how it's coming through. So we're going to start with some kind of early point in his life. If you haven't heard about Opechancanough before, he was a paramount chief of the Powhatan tribes after his brother, Chief Powhatan, passed away, and Chief Powhatan is the father of Pocahontas, which is the most commonly known ancestor from the Powhatan tribes, just because of how everything went down in the past. So, early on, let me get the timeline out. Let me see if anyone else is on here. Hey, Tiana. Now we're going to go to his timeline, and I'll just type it in here, and if it looks like I need to blow it up some more, I will. All right, so we're going to go all the way back to before we get up to 1622, which that's what we're doing this today for, because that's the day that the uprising occurred, which has been historically known as the Second Anglo-Powhatan War. So if you've heard that before, or if you've studied it before, same thing. We're just trying to transform the language so that it's not villainizing our ancestors as much as it has in the past. So that's why we try to change that. Okay, so this is now interesting tidbit. George Thorpe is the guy I mentioned earlier. He is the one who built the house for Opechancanough. So if you've ever heard me talk about Opechancanough and his white man house, that's what I'm talking about. So tragically, George is a casualty in this uprising of 1622 that was led by Opechancanough. However, George Thorpe was trying to force Opechancanough to be Christian. Like back then, like obviously somebody put it in their head that they needed to force people to be Christians, and that's what was happening. Obviously, there are a lot of moving factors to that. It's not just, hey, you said this and whatever, and now, there was a lot of things that happened, like a lot of brutal, painful things that happened that led up to that uprising. So it's not like it just came out of nowhere. But back in, I want to say 15, let me pull up my Opechancanough timeline on this other thing here. Oh, I need this to move. Okay, let's move that. Okay. All right. I need my good old timeline. But anyways, where I was going with that with the timeline is I find the timeline is super helpful when it comes to verifying these connections that you're wanting to verify. So if you're finding that you're doing like a lot of back and forth and you feel like you're doing double work, I would, or even sometimes triple work, I would strongly suggest a timeline for each person that you are trying to prove, because when you put it together with the tree and with the DNA, it goes together magically, or it doesn't go together, and then you have your answer that way as well. All right, let me go find this timeline I've been working on. So this one or this one? Okay, first of all, during his lifetime, Pocahontas is born. She's the daughter of his brother, and she's born in 1595. So we could add more years above that. But where I was going with this is, you may have heard the story that he was taken by Spanish explorers in 1561, and he was held there and later returned. He knew right where to go, where his people were in Virginia. So that's one of the reasons why they believe that this person is actually Opechancanough. I believe he also is referred to as Paquiqueño by the Spanish, like during that time. I don't know enough about that. I do know that there's some info in a book written about it. I don't know too much about that. I just know about the work I did, so I won't get off too far into that. But that happens, right? He comes back. Well, another thing is the same kind of theory, okay? So they are also, the Spanish are also trying to convert him. So everyone's just trying to convert Opie. They're like, dude, you just need to be converted. I don't know. I don't know what their issue was, but they're like, well, we're converting you. So he had to like basically trick the Spanish as well. He's like, yeah, 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 it's cool. I'll be whatever you want me to be. And then I can't remember the story of why they went back to the island and where he knew exactly where to go. Where Chief Powhatan was. But anyhow, so that's how all that went down. Now we're up to 1595, Pocahontas is born. So 1607, this is what we need to add. Okay. I'll start adding this so you can visually see it too. All right, let's go over here. So he actually in 1607 is the first time that he led an uprising. And that was on the newly founded colony of Virginia. And this is supposed to say leads. He leads a hunting party that captures John Smith, and we all know who John Smith is. He's the first dude that came over as far as like, Jamestown area. And so he's the one who basically kidnapped him and took him to Chief Powhatan. Um, and then subsequently, you know, from Smith's perspective, Pocahontas saved him when her father was about to have him killed. Um, from some other perspectives, it was kind of like a ploy and maybe like kind of like a thing to get Smith to be like, hey, we are friends, so like, because like we could, what I'm saying, like that, like he's like, we could have just ended you right now, like, so because we didn't, we're cool, dude. This is basically is what he's saying. That's how I'm using like today's, terminology, but that's basically how that went down. Now so this would have been, so Pocahontas would have been like 12 when that happened. Okay. Now, let's go. Next, we have 1609. And let's grab these. Take them over here. Okay. So after that, in 1609, January 1st. Now, I don't know if that was like the literal date or if that is just a date that the Jamestown Historical Society like placed as that year. I have not dug in that aspect of it that deeply, so just keep that in mind. But this is what is historically known as the First Anglo-Powhatan War, and it lasts until 1614. Same year, Opechancanough becomes the prominent leader, and obviously he's opposing the English, and he is advocating for aggression rather than coexistence, because coexistence is not really going so well because they're kind of just like not coexisting. They're kind of just like, this is ours, we're taking it, get over it. And obviously Opechancanough like, no, that's not cool, we're not doing that. So that starts in 1609. Which same year Wahanganoche is supposed to be born, that same year, by the way. Let me grab a drink. And he's the one that we were talking about the when we get into the Potomac and stuff. We won't get off into that today because I want to focus on Opechancanough, but just wanted to put that in there as being on this timeline. Now, um, now we're going to move up to 1614. And it's interesting that that's also the same year that he gains recognition as a leader holding influence over all the people. And basically, again, what that means is, we have a paramount chief, like Chief Powhatan is like a chief over several tribes. And so when we're talking about the Powhatan tribes, the ones that are still in existence today that we have in our group DNA projects that we're all, mixing and mingling and matching with, they are we're all descending from the same people. So it's just amazing to me that it's on there. But anyways, my point was, it's interesting to me that at the end of what is known as that First Anglo-Powhatan War, that's when he's recognized as paramount chief. So they're basically saying, okay, he's the ruler over all the Powhatan tribes now. And this is prior to what? Let's see. So this is about 8 years prior to the uprising in 1622 that we're reuniting on today as his descendants and family. And just like anyone interested in history or, Virginia history, Native American history, these are the Native Americans that were here at the beginning when colonizers really started coming over, when Jamestown was developed and all that kind of stuff. So way back at the beginning of America, basically, what is known as America today, and more specifically Virginia, but also North Carolina, Alabama. We won't get into all of them because that gets into our very complex ancestry after everyone started mixing and mingling. And complex is not meant to be like negative. It's actually amazing, and it makes the DNA work amazing because we have all these mixed ethnicities. And so it just makes it so exciting when you're building genetic networks and then you're checking and then you're doing chromosome mapping, and it all comes together. It's really awesome. So anyhow, so that same year he is saying, all right, well, I guess we'll be cool for now. So that was in 1614. Obviously, they were not cool in 1622, but let's go back and see if anything happened in between those years. All right, so obviously they were not but let's go back and see if anything happened in between those years. All right. Okay, I guess 1618 is when he officially became paramount chief, because for a little bit, after Chief Powhatan passed away, their brother Opechancanough actually succeeded Chief Powhatan, but basically Opechancanough took over. He had already been dealing with all this stuff from the beginning. So 1618 is when he becomes officially paramount chief after Chief Powhatan passes away. And of course, if you're familiar with what I'm talking about, we all know what happens in 1617. And so this is when Pocahontas passes away. And we won't get too much into the story because, again, that's historically been told from primarily a perspective that is non-native, and so I don't want to get any, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be disrespectful. But I was thinking about something as I was putting this timeline together for Opechancanough. So when Pocahontas passes away, they were on their way back from England. Okay, Gravesend is where she was buried. Now, the story goes that they took their son, Thomas Rolfe, back to his brother. So back to John Rolfe's brother. So that would be Thomas Rolfe's uncle. Does anybody know why does that make sense? Because Pocahontas's sister was with them? Let me know if you know about that. I was just thinking, I'm like, okay, so you're already, I don't know how far I guess they had traveled before she got sick. That part I don't know. So maybe if it wasn't too far, but I don't know. It just seems weird to me that's the decision that was made. Seemed very odd to me. Okay, so then Chief Powhatan passes away. Sometime in here, Kokokoski is born. She is the granddaughter of Opechancanough. And we won't get into too much of her today, but she has been studied hardcore genetically through our projects. So we got a lot of good DNA info on her, and her descendants and whatnot. So all right, so next, George Thorpe is over there trying to get him to convert. And then let's see what happens after. Oh yeah, just as a side note, after the uprising of 1622, it was 6 years later that Niketi was supposed to be born, and that's supposed to be Opechancanoug's last daughter, before he passes away, which is not until 1646. We actually have a whole nother uprising in 1644 that we got to go through with Grandpa Opie over here. All right, so I just wanted to throw that in as a side note. That happens in between the March 22nd uprising and the 1644 uprising, which is historically known as the Third Anglo-Powhatan War. And that was the final one that was led by Opechancanough, and 400 settlers lost their life during that uprising, which I do want us to get together again on that specific date. I don't have the actual date yet, but let's at least put this in the timeline. I believe it's actually, I want to say it might also be in April, if I'm not mistaken. So it might be pretty soon, actually. So let's go down to 1644. Oh yeah, he also, we forgot, important, he signs a peace treaty in 1632. So that means now we have three ancestors that I can think of right off the top of our head that have signed peace treaties. So him, Nectawance and Kokokoski, and Nekatawance is supposed to be Kokokoski's dad, which is also part of the DNA project that we're working. So that will be all right. So this is what is known as the Third Anglo-Powhatan War, and the final one, I believe. I don't think there was any more that was specifically Anglo-Powhatan after this. Let's spell correctly here. Okay. So then he is I'm a little nervous because I don't know what I'm allowed to say on online on live, but this was what happened. So he was captured at the time. It was William Berkeley that was the governor. They brought him in chains to Jamestown, to the jail, and the jailer was the family member of someone that had lost their lives in this one, in the 1644 uprising. So he took it upon himself to do that instead of you know, whatever they were going to do to him for the uprising that he had. And this is actually 1646. I was like, that doesn't seem right for some reason, because I knew it was 2 years after. Let's change that to the right spot. So many of us are descendants of him through okay, so Niketi's the mom of Niketi, which we have a lot of Niketi descendants in our group. So when you hear like Hughes, Davis, I mean a lot of them, a lot of them. If you're in the DNA project, like all those DNA segments that I posted in the ancestor surname files, you'll see them. You'll recognize yours. But so from her, and then also from Kokokoski, which we know that she got with the West guy. And so there's definitely distinctions in the genetic networks and clusters and stuff. So I can tell which one that it comes from. So there's several of us that have both of them actually. And that makes sense, obviously, because they're both descendants of him, just in different ways. So, but anyhow, Cleopatra is the sister of Pocahontas, who is supposed to be the mother of Niketi. So that's just how it was back then. It's like, I know it's super weird now, but that's just how things went back then. So even though there was endogamy and all this kind of stuff, there's still very distinct different genetic networks and clusters and stuff. So it's amazing that we can see 404 years later what's happening. And now I kind of want to find out who this guy, look at this guy again that did that at the jail, and see who his family member was. And maybe we could make amends with that family member. So not like, hunt them down, but just like spiritually make amends with them. I'll have to look that back up. There is a whole list from both, because in 1622, let me see. there was actually, let's go look and see. 347 settlers lost their lives on this day in 1622. And I actually think I did find a list. Let's go see if I could find the list and then we'll kind of do like some sort of thing. Let's get it. Let's light a candle for the ancestors. All right, give me a few minutes. I think I did find a list. Let's go see if I can find the list and we'll kind of like on the all right, we'll put this here. Hey guys, hey Jack, hey Robert, hey Diana, hey Mr. Stokes. Oh my goodness. All right. I am hot on the trail of my mitochondrial line. And there's a Stokes involved, but I don't know if it's because of um I don't know if it's because it's like a legit name or if I don't know if it's the whole thing I was talking about, like maybe the Stokes was a slave holder or a slave trader. I don't know yet, but I'm like so close. I cannot wait to find out. But you just reminded me that because there's a Stokes involved. It's like Stokes, Young, Moody, Steele, and one other. So since it's so many, I'm thinking she might have been indentured, or she could be a genetic Stokes. I guess we'll see. Okay, now, all right, we got a candle. Let's get our list. All right, let's get the list of the people. All right, let's look. Oh, look at Tammy's dancing thing. I know, right, Douglas? Oh, sorry, I logged into Facebook to go look at the comments. Yes. Oh my God, Jack. Do you have a Moody? I'm so close. I can't tell you guys yet what it is until I know, but you're gonna die. Not like literally. Don't get mad at me, YouTube or Facebook. I know. I'm just like right there. I'm just so excited. Oh my God. All right, so now we are going to go to the Jamestown Society website. Oh, another important factor of this specific uprising, the one on March 22nd of 1622, is that there were people that Opechancanough and them kidnapped and held hostage for quite a bit of time. Okay, so we need to keep that in mind, and we're also gonna have a list of that because guess what? Some of those are our ancestors, because I'm talking like held captive long enough to have kids with some people over there, and I have seen it in the DNA. So, when it comes to Opechancanough, let's keep that in mind. All right, let's see. This is the list of those who died after. Here, following is set down a true list of the names of all those that were massacred. Let's see. All right, so I'll put this on we'll put this on the screen, and then I will put it, take note too, when I put this on the screen of the plantation names. We were just talking about that. The plantations are going to be a very integral part of our triracial history. And I say triracial, but honestly, it's more than that if you think about it. If you think about what the Native American genome is comprised of, and then, mixed with European and then mixed with African. And then we also had like, the fur traders didn't all come from one place. Then we had, the French and all this. So it's it's really cool how it shows up in the DNA. All right, now let's go add this to our screen. Now these are the casualties from 1622. So, I'm not really approaching it as like I'm saying, oh, I'm sorry for what my ancestor did, because quite honestly, like, what would we do? Like, you know, these people come over, whole bunch of stuff happens. It seems like it seems like they're going to like end your whole race of people. I mean, there wasn't a lot of options. It was an uprising, like he was rising up for his people and his race. So I don't really want to approach it like that to villainize him, because um I think the villainizing of like both sides is not helpful, and you know thinking about the reality of their situation as it was happening at that time in history. So um the way I look at it, Opechancanough is a victim too. I mean, it's like they were just like repeating the pattern back and forth. They're trying to figure out like, how are we going to deal with these people, how are we going to work with these people. So they're just like kidnapping each other back and forth. um and then it turns into this whole crazy thing all the way down to us, but we won't get into that whole thing today. We'll try to stay on Opechancanough. But this is the list of the people that on that day that it happened. So let's go back up here. And I'll make it bigger, and then I'll go through it slowly so that we can see, because you're going to recognize some names. So again, this is the unfortunate reality of our ancestry, is that you're going to see some people that did um not make it through this situation that are also our ancestors. So that's why I that's literally why I'm so like protective about like the project, and when you're getting in and saying like this is a super emotional journey, there's no way to sugarcoat it, there's no way to hide any part of it. It is what it is. So I just have to be able to speak freely, but also respectively, and then also or respectfully, I should say. Um And then also just keeping in mind again of what the actual reality was at the time. So, let's look at these. And again, there's like 300 something of them, so. So 404 years later, a whole bunch of us, almost 1,000, more than that, if I had time to let people into our project, have found each other. We are triracial. I think we're pretty awesome, but I mean, I might be, I might be biased a little bit. So, the thing I absolutely love about, Opechancanough is like, he's like, he's not just gonna sit down and take it. And there was something else I read that I'll have to find again to share, in the very beginning. I actually think it's in an old news article. If you look up Opechancanough, by the way, in the old newspapers, I mean, there's literally like hundreds of articles, if not thousands. Now, some of them are duplicated because, like, back in the day, they would write an article in the newspaper, but like it would be published in a whole bunch of different states. Like, that's just how it was back in the day. And then they started, getting more and more local as far as the news. But you can find all kinds of stuff on them. But the point being was, I remember him telling somebody he had a dream that the white man was going to come and they were going to wipe out his entire race. So this is what he's operating on from day one, before John Smith even comes over. He's already thinking, these people are going to come. They call them the pale faces. Um, so I just always keep that in mind as well. But, he saved his race, and now we have like this triracial community. I mean, the Powhatan tribes are still going in Virginia. A lot of stuff happened, from then until us. So we're going to see a lot of Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw, Cherokee activity coming up. We've talked a little bit about it with the Pamunkey intentionally mixing with the Cherokee in North Carolina. That one time, I think that was maybe in the late 1800s. So it's really just an amazing history of the survival of a race that's transformed into like a whole another race. So I look at us with what we're calling triracial um history as like, this is really how America was made, if people want to talk about what America is. But obviously, it's because some of our ancestors were forceful and they just came over and they're like, hey, we're going to take this, even though it's not ours. And if you don't let us take it, then we're just going to cause a bunch of problems. So we don't accept that type of behavior today. Like, so we can't continue to act like that was some form of heroism. Like, I mean, we need to acknowledge as the descendants of both sides that, yeah, that's not cool. And I also think about the final statement of Chief Paladin. He's like, and I do have this posted. I think I might even have this posted on my personal page and even here on YouTube too. Definitely in the Facebook group. I'm streaming on two places right now. How funny is that? But anyhow, Chief Powhatan was basically saying, like, in regards to John Smith, like, we're your friends. Like we would have gave you whatever. Like you didn't have to be a jerk about it. And then I'm sure John Smith probably thinks he's the greatest gift to mankind, and he probably believes he's doing the right thing, you know? I mean, who knows who trained him to think like he thinks, you know? So it's just a whole jangled mess of humans trying to communicate with different languages too, on top of all that. Don't even speak the same language. But yeah, that's why we're all here. So oh, let me check comments. That's why we are all here. Yeah. Hey, Bridget. Oh, it is cut off. I'm so sorry. Let me put- I'm so sorry. We're gonna have to go back up there. I was just over here chatting away, not paying attention. I'll go back. I'll roll back up once before we go through. And the crazy thing is like, some of the, it's like, it's like some of our ancestors were casualties of these types of things by our ancestors, but like native and, um, but mostly when it comes to European, it was like they were hurting, natives. I'm not sure if they were hurting each other too. And what you'll notice too with this list, I know you're noticing these names from your tree, but what you might also notice is some of these names are in your native lines. So that's what I mean. Excuse me. All right, so I'll go back through it up the other way since I have it in the right spot now. All right, better. Yep, that's what I'm saying. Uh, Brandon. So that's what the Don Luis Velasco somehow ended. It was that the one that they were calling Pacaquino in Mex or in, you know, when they kidnapped him? To sell his book. Hey, that would totally make sense. He's like, oh, let me write this how people would want to hear it. That makes sense, Jack. Um, but also, and if you want to go even further back, because remember there was the Spanish Wars and stuff even further back, but it was also said that Chief Powhatan was ran out of Florida by the Spanish, I believe, is what the story was. And that would make sense with the Q haplogroup that we know for a fact, is associated with Powhatan in several different ways. And one of those ways is from the Sizemores. Now, speaking of the Sizemores, they were also some of the ones that were taken in this 1622. Let me scroll while I'm talking. In this 1622 uprising and held. Okay. So they definitely had kids with Indians because that is line is established from there. Guess what else is established with that Q one is that it comes from even further back from Spain. So that would support that they came from that way. And remember, when you see any of these in your tree, especially when it's related to our Powhatan ancestors, check those ancestors and see if they were slave holders. It might not automatically be on their profile. You might have to look. I have had the most amazing success with full text search on Family Search, which is free to use. And I mean, I can't even tell you how many records I've found for our whole Powhatan ancestry that way through the plantations. Because when people were indentured or when they were enslaved, there were records for that. They were treated as property. And again, it was not just African Americans that this was happening to. This was white people that came over from different countries that were indentured. So they're like trying to pay for their way that they came over. This is Native Americans that were here from the beginning, but they got mixed up in all this stuff when our Powhatan ancestors were mixing with the Royal Europeans. So yeah, it's a long, rich history of a whole bunch of crazy. You guys recognizing any names on here? If you are watching on YouTube, I am so sorry. I do not have the comments for there, but I am also streaming on Facebook and I can see those comments. What in the world? Oh, there we go. There. Oh God. You scared me. I'm still alive, honey. Sorry, you guys. Addison just came in and scared me. It was so quiet, and then you just came in. Oh boy. Okay, so that was for the 1622. What's he doing, babies? All right, let me finish up my live, okay? Do you need anything really important right now? Okay. All right, honey, look, this is on live, so if you want to walk around that way, because I got the TV on there. I got this on the TV and I'm live on this one. She's like, whatever, dude. Whatever you say. Okay. Yes. Walker is heavily up in the situation, Jack. That's for sure. And Walker is in my mitochondrial situation too, I believe. You saw Fowler. Is that your person, Debbie? Ord. Jane Ord was a servant, and I get my Rama for known. Where was she a servant at, Jack? Like, what was the location? Do you know? Dude, we literally had like Niketi descendants that, let me not mess this up. Okay, we had Niketi descendants that were slave holders and owned Kokokoski descendants. Like, it's wild when I get it to all together, and way that we present it, it's just unbelievable. Which I think I found a way to do it for free, maybe. But I would have to make a page for each like major player ancestor, like Opechancanough, Chief Powhatan, Wahanganoche, Kokokoski, Pocahontas, all that. And then I'll put all the work I did on each one with the links, but like I'll make it like a Google form. So that way, like you can just go on the Google form, click on those links, and then I can link it to the genetic info, but that will probably have to be linked to our private group. So that part I'm not really sure about yet. But all this obviously until we can get a website, and then we'll be good to go. So that's my plan right now. Any questions before I get going? Sounds like Addie is ready, up and ready to live. I let her sleep in since I had this morning. Let's see. She lived in Sunderland with my third great grandfather Robertson. She's from Northumberland. Okay, so how many kids did she have, Jack? Let's see. I think they do, Brandon. I think the Beverlys show up pretty early. Bacon's Rebellion is this is like pretty much let's see, about 50 years before Bacon's Rebellion. Because Bacon's Rebellion was 1677. No. But yeah, or 1678. No, it was in 1677. Because then Kokokoski signed the peace treaty the same year, right? Because he went to go try to get her to kidnap her. Because again, that's what they were doing back in the day, is just kidnapping each other to hold them hostage to get whatever they wanted. So because she was a leader after Totopotomoy died, that would have been, so what, like 40-year difference? Maybe 30, 30 to 40, 40, 50, 50 to 60, almost 50-year difference. But I'm pretty positive I've seen them show up before that. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, pretty sure. All right, so let me screenshot that then, Jack, because especially if she was okay, so we got a Robert Robertson. Now, is your Robert Robertson, did he own her or was she married to him? Or let me see here. And what time frame we talking? Jennifer, I'm all over the walkers. So what, tell me what yours is. I'm a heck, I might already know. You'll have to tell me what your walker situation is. Okay, well, that's a good start. And so when you found her, her name was, let's look at this again. She was somebody from. So when you found the record, it said Jane Ord, and that's all it said, Jane Ord. No worries. I know, it's so wild. It turned out to be like way more intense than I was expecting. Like, it's unbelievable. Yes, and also Napiers were also slave holders, I believe. So look into that, Charmaine. Again, hit up that full text search, put, this is what you, I know what I did. I made a list of terms to use. Let me see if I have it up here. Maybe, let's see. Oh man, is it on the Kokoski one? Oh, come on. I know I just did this. I gotta hunt it down. Give me a second. I know I told you guys to use like indenture and stuff, but I made like a list of words that I found a lot. So that way, what you do is you put your ancestor's name and try to find some the most unique one out of it. So if you had Napier, look at those first names, and if you see something unique, like I don't know, Philopoulos or something, I don't know, something that's not like Thomas Warren, whatever. And even if it is, just try to pick the most unique out of whatever it is from that family, and then you put plus, and then quotes, either indenture. Let me look at one more place that I might have put this list at that I worked so hard to make, and now I can't find it. Oh, what year was that? Just as a quick side note, during the 1860s, in south of Elizabeth City, North Carolina, which was the Bayside Plantation, also known as the John Hollowell Plantation. That's another thing you can put in the search quote for full text search is the actual plantation. And then you'll get some court records that way as well. Because these court records are not tired, they're not indexed. So basically they're sitting there as pictures. And that's why they're not attaching to the ancestor profiles, because they're not transcribed and they're not indexed. So it's not, so like all this AI stuff is really not picking it up and putting it together. But when we go and find it that way, using the full text search, then it finds it within those pictures, because these are like scanned documents from courthouses and stuff like that. But anyhow, that year in the 1860s, which was in Pasquotank County, there were 40 blacks that were held for forced labor until after the Civil War. And that is very prevalent in our ancestry. So just keep that in mind as a side note. Still trying to find that list for you. Did I handwrite it? Let me look at my notebook. Goodness gracious. I don't know. When I come across it again, I'll make a little little PowerPoint picture that I do and post it so that you guys can always reference back to it. Did Jack come back yet? Let me see what he said. Yep, Budge family's in the mix as well, Charmaine. And they were in government as well. Let me see what Jack said. That's very possible, Charmaine, because the Irish were definitely mixing with the native. I mean, if you even put in like the known slave traders of the time, you can just Google that. If you find your ancestor in like, I don't know, North Carolina or South Carolina, like you could put in what were the plantations that were open in 1860 in South Carolina, or as specific as you can get, and you'll get some good info. And then from that, you can start connecting it to our ancestry because you start seeing the individuals that were there at those plantations. And then it all starts making sense. Bunch were early, super early. All right, now let me go see what, so 1913 or 1842 to 1914. Oh, so that was in that time frame, Jack. All right, I'm screenshotting this so I can investigate. Um, no, Jennifer, but I will totally look that up. I just screenshotted it. All right, I got those ones to follow up on. I'm wondering if my Sizemore now, I'm wondering if that is stemming from when those guys were held captive uh after this massacre that happened today on 404 years ago. Because you guys remember there was there's some Sizemores that are like for sure Cherokee, right? I want to say Cherokee. So initially I was thinking, well, maybe that's how I got it from when, from the late 1800s when the monkey mixed with the Cherokee on purpose. But with thinking about who is down the line from there, I'm thinking it might actually been from this time period that is where my Sizemore came from. Okay. You're like, I can't be doing all this typing. I can't be doing phone calls, man, because the thing is like if I am not like I feel like me listening to something is like wasting time because then I'm not like transcribing it, you know what I'm saying? Like if someone messages me, then I can always go back to it and look at that if I'm working on it. So I know that's like a little bit, I don't know, it's super weird. But that one, especially if that's in the area of some of your ancestors, it'll come out. Now that I know when I'm doing these, because now I'm obsessed, I'm like dragging out all these records. I mean, I found the most amazing connection that went back to the monkey and now I'm just obsessed with finding all the records so I can just find everybody and put them back where they belong. So anyhow, I need to get back to that, but pretty soon we're gonna have a day of plantations, so we can kind of compartmentalize that, and then you can start trying kind of seeing why we're seeing all these different spots like North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, Tennessee, yada yada. It's gonna be mostly because that's where these plantations were and what was going on at the time, so. We'll do that soon. I just wanted to do this today since it is 404 years later, and I just think it's amazing that we have all found each other and we're all figuring this out, and we're all pretty cool. So we are not pretendians, we are descendians, okay? Okay, alrighty, guys. I love you guys. I will talk to you soon.